Hey guys, it's Drew here at Card of My Eye, and today I have a project to share with you. This is actually a Tim Holtz configuration box that I altered. I've had this configuration box since the first time I met Tim Holtz in 2010, so it's been quite a while since I have even touched this box. It's just been in a drawer, and so I decided I'd break it out and use it, and I used a Graphic 45 Romantique paper collection. I'm going to submit it as one of the design team projects for the Graphic 45 design team call they're having. So I'm going to use this as one of my submission projects. I need a total of 6, so I'm going to use this as one, and I have a couple other done and stuff. And so, this is just a plain configuration box. I don't know the actual size of this one. It's the rectangular one. I got this the first time he was putting them out because in Chino, was it in Chino? I don't remember where it was. Where he was doing a show, it was the first time he was releasing the configuration boxes, so I picked up this one, and I also picked up the box feet, but I decided to use spools on this one instead. Alrighty. So, just to let you know beforehand, I'll put the link to my blog in the down bar below, and the link to my blog, I have really detailed photos on there, and they just show the details much better than this video is going to. But, let's get started. Okay, so, the background, I painted the box using this paint here. It is the Folk Art Vintage White Acrylic Paint, and I basically took one of these little cups. I have a lot of these. They're just from the dollar store, and I put it in the little container, and then I painted the outside just with the vintage white, like this, all the way around, and then I painted also this here, and I used one of my favorite Tattered Angel stamp sets. It's this one here. It's the Rock and Renaissance stamp set. I used the script stamp there, which is actually on the acrylic block somewhere on my messy desk, but I love this stamp set. It has such nice textures, like look at the crackle there. And so I used a script stamp, and I used some brown Memento ink. This is the Memento ink I used for all the stamping. Rich Cocoa Memento. And I just went around the edges and made this look like there's script stamped all the way around it. So I hope you could see that. But I just stamped around it, so it gives it a lot more detail than just having the white. But I left the edges white just to keep like that shabby chic look to it. And I'm working on top of my pink Tattered Angels oversized craft sheet, I guess that's what it's called. And I used all the configuration boxes except for 3 of them, which I'm planning on doing a project with, so I kind of started doing stuff with them. But I have 3 that I did not use because I wanted to make this panel here a lot wider, so I actually took out 3 of them that would have gone there to make a larger panel here. And basically, what I did was I attached them all together, and I used some of the Prima cotton tape. This roll doesn't have any left on it. Oh, here we go. Here's the Prima cotton tape I used. I used 2 rolls of it, and it looks like this. It's basically like a cotton washi tape. It pulls off like this, and I used that instead of the Tim Holtz paper tape. I forget what that stuff's called. Oh, you guys know what I mean, like the masking tape stuff. I don't have that product, so I wasn't able to use it, but I used the cotton tape, which adds a great little fabric touch. And then after I did that, I used the same exact Rock and Renaissance script stamp from Tattered Angels and the Memento ink and stamped it all over to give it a bit of a shabby chic look. And then what I did was I took some vintage music paper, and the vintage music paper was originally this color of music paper. Like, it was like a really orangey yellow vintage color, like this is distressed, but I wanted it a little bit less, so I put the Folk Art paint in one of those little cups I showed you earlier, and I actually added a bit of water, and I used it as a wash, so I washed it over the top of it. And if you guys would like a little tip, if you're using like one of those spongy brushes, the foam brushes that I always use, it leaves like streak marks, but if you paint it on and then you add a couple spritzes of just water on top of your wash afterwards, it'll level out and make it look really clean. So that's just a little tip for you. And the background paper here, the paper that's in the back it's from the Graphic 45 Romantique. It's this paper here. It's called Les Romantique, Tenders, I don't know, I have it upside down. There we go. I don't know, whatever that says, tender missives or whatever, and it has these really nice postage stamps on it, and the back has this really pretty pink damask pattern, and I cut out all of them and put it back there. But if you could see the difference in tone of the paper, I actually whitewashed this as well, so that everything in the boxes would actually pop out a bit more. And I'm just going to start in with the embellishing. So the wood spools are from Michaels. I can actually show you the packaging that they're in. It's this wood shop pack. It's only $3 and you get a whole ton of spools. So you can use your 40% off coupon if you like as well. I use those as the feet, so it stands up just like this. Really nice. And then I'm going to start down here. This is a Melissa Francis satin flower I've had in my stash for a while. I actually happen to have the packaging right here, so in case you want to get it, it's item number FF07, and it was on a packaging like this. And it's just a really pretty green satin flower, so I decided I'd stick it in there. Then there's another one of those spools, which I wrapped with some twine, and I am so amazed. You guys, look at this. You could actually see through the twine. Do you see that? You could see through it. Look at how full these twine packages come, like so thick and full of twine. I have 2 of them, and I cannot believe how much I've gone through them, like a ton. It's just like amazing. So I've wrapped it around there, and then I added one of the little birds from the Carla's Etsy store. Here are the little smaller birds. I will link her Etsy below as well. And then I added the Marion Smith Vintage Trinket, which is a bird cage. And this is the item number for the bird cage. It's item number 930066. So if you want to pick that up, I highly suggest getting that. And the bird actually bobbles around in there. I'm not sure if you can see. There's a little bird inside of the metal trinket bird cage. And it actually has this little bronze leaf attached to the top of it, but it wouldn't fit in there, so I took the leaf off. And then I added a couple pieces of a Prima Vine, which I don't have the packaging to the Prima Vine, but it is my favorite Prima Vine. It looks like this. It is the Carnation Vine in Timber something. I forget the name of it, but I really like it. And then I added a couple of wooden buttons. I have some that are from my own Etsy store, which I will also link below. And then I also have these ones, which are from my Etsy store as well. They're really pretty. They have these little butterflies on them. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see those. And I just flipped it over so you can see the butterfly patterns underneath there, because I just wanted the wood to show. And then over in this box here, I added on one of these humongous crystal baubles. And I think I might have one to show you guys. Yeah. These are again from Carla's Etsy. Look at how big this crystal bauble is. Super pretty. I really like that crystal bauble. And I actually stuck it just stuck it in there. And I added another bauble right there, which was a different size bauble, but I do not see it here. I don't know where it is in there, but it looks like that. It's really like iridescent and it's really pretty. See how gorgeous that is? It looks like a diamond right there. And I added a couple of buttons on the bottom and a porcelain rose and this really pretty white flower with the stamen and like the diamond center. Those are also from Carla's Etsy store. And right here I made this nest and I actually used my favorite lace from Webster's Pages. It looks like this. It actually comes in a continuous strip, but this is just like a little leftover piece. It has mesh and then it has these little stitched areas, so I used that lace. I also used some Prima lace, which looks like this, and it's their Alencon collection lace. It's from the 2010 release, or 2011 release, and I used a little bit of seam binding. I'm not sure if you can kind of see the seam binding right there. It's a pink colored seam binding. It looks like this, actually. I have a little piece. I sprayed it with some brown vintage colored Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist, and I added a bit of twine up in there to make it look a little bit more organic, and I just kind of wrapped it in a circle, so I made this little bird nest. And then I added on top 2 larger birds from Carla's Etsy. They come in a package like this. So I added 2 larger birds on there, and I added, this is actually real vintage from an antique shop, and then I have a Prima rose back there, really pretty, and I actually have the little metal leaf from the Marion Smith birdcage and a couple of buttons, and then I have that pretty vine flowing all the way up. The vine's actually not that long, but I actually glued parts of the vine onto each other, so there's actually a segment glued here, which makes it a little bit more flowing and just kind of flows up the whole thing, and this really pretty teal-colored flowers on there, and I added a couple of the pearl sprays from Carla's Etsy, and that's actually a vintage postcard from 1910. It's a real vintage postcard. It's nothing, it's not like a print or anything. That's a real postcard back there, but I thought I added a really pretty touch in the background. And then over here I stacked on top of each other 2 spools. They're actually different sized spools. This one's a bit larger, and then this is the one I used on the feet of the box. Sorry, no it's not. It's a different, the one I use on the feet is the one on the bottom. And I added this vintage key. That is an actual vintage key. It says on it, Gable Look Company, made in the USA. I don't know if you'll actually be able to see that on it in there. And then I cut out one of the postage stamps from this paper I showed you earlier. And I added it in there as well. And I added a mini tiny spool from Maya Road. And this is actually a glasses lens. It's for vintage glasses. It's a glasses lens. It came in a vintage packaging like this. So it is an actual glasses lens that I just kind of stuck in there. And going up here, I have my favorite charm from my Etsy store. It is a woven heart charm. It is 3D. It's so pretty. It's like, I just love it. It's a woven heart, and it is 3D. Can you see into that charm? And I added the pink seam binding tied in a bow, and I added the button with some twine in it. And I just love that little spot up there. I think it adds so much dimension. In the last box here, I added on this image of the lady, and the lady image comes from this paper here. I actually cut it from that section, but this paper is called Sweetheart of Mine, and I cut it out and added it here, and then I used this spool, which is from Carla's Etsy. It's a different size spool. It's a lot different from any spool that I've seen. It looks like this, so really like that spool shape. And I added a couple of the birds, so that she's kind of like sitting in a garden, and there's birds just around her, and there's another one of the carnations that I cut off of the vine, and I added one of the melt glass trinkets from Marion Smith. Can you see the facets on there? Super duper pretty. And here's the melt glass trinkets number in case you're curious about that. So that is really my configuration box, you guys. I really love the outcome. And again, if you check my blog, again, the link is in the description below. There are really detailed photos, and I'd love for you to go take a look at my blog and follow it if you'd like to. I post a lot of projects on there that I don't actually post on YouTube, but this is one of the ones I really wanted to share with you guys. So, hope you enjoyed, and no, the back just looks like this. Hope you enjoyed my project for today, and don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe above. Bye, everyone.